in 7th grade, we learned all about rise of a run. So I'm going to start by showing you kind of how you can find rise of a run using a graph. So that is represented here, obviously, where the graph is. So first, you would find 2 points on the line of the graph. So this is our line right here on the graph. It obviously starts at 0 and ends at 5. And you would first find 2 points on the line, and then you would use the equation y is equal to mx plus b, which we're going to write just so you know what we are using. So to find the m stands for rise of a run, which is how much you're increasing by each time you go up on the graph. So m is equal to rise over run. So in this case, to find rise of a run, we are going to find first our rise, which goes up and down on a graph. It would go along the y-axis, so that would be this. So you can always remember rise because you rise, you go up, and you don't run up. So this is our rise right here. It is 2 units, even though you can't really see the bar lines, but that is what it is. It's 2 units. And so you would, for your rise, you would do 2. Now to find your run, you would do across, because you do run across. And your run here would be 3. And you can see because it goes from the 2 to the 5. And so your run is 3. So in this equation, the y is equal to mx plus b, your equation would now be y is equal to 2/3 x plus b. Now b is going to be your y-intercept, and that is where the line goes across the y-axis. Now this is your y-axis right here. So to find where it goes across, you could have a graph that extends down to the negative numbers, but we don't here. So we can automatically assume that since it starts here at 0, that your b is going to be a 0. So it would be y is equal to 2/3 x plus 0, because you're not adding anything to it. So we're going to rewrite that equation. And then you would use that equation to solve any problem that was asked about the graph. So now we're going to look at this graph. Now you can also solve it on this graph, which does look a little different. As you can see, the line here is going down. So to find on this one, you would still find rise over run, and you would still find the y-intercept. And you would still, of course, use the equation y is equal to mx plus b. So for this one, we're going to first find, of course, our rise over run. So our rise over run. I'm going to write over my own work, but that is okay, because our rise, if you will see here, is, I don't think I wrote it down, but it's actually -2, because since the line is going down, as you can see, since the line is going down, we're losing it. So not losing it like going crazy, but we're losing numbers. So this would be -2 right here. So that's your rise. Your rise would be -2, and even though it is -2, which means that you're subtracting, it still is called a rise. And your run is also going to be 3, just like in the previous problem. So now your rise over run is -2 over 3. Now to find b is going to be a little bit more complicated on this one, because since the line is not going up, we have to find the y-intercept once again, which, if you look at the y-axis right here, you can see that the line starts on 4. So that would mean that your b is going to be 4, which means that your new equation is going to be y is equal to -2 over 3 x plus 4. So that's how you solve on a graph. Now for our table. To find it on a table, which is right here, sorry, it's very messy, so I'm going to clear part of it. So this is our table right here, and to find it on a table, you would originally make the table, of course, but that's already done for us. So now to find our y is equal to mx plus b, to find that, we are going to first find, of course, our rise over run, which is a bit different when you're doing it on a table. So, on a table, you first to find the rise, you find how much it's either increasing or decreasing every time you go over the numbers, which, as you can see, I've done here with the little bumps. You can see that I also wrote a number above to represent how much is either increasing or decreasing. So, for our x coordinate right here, it increases every time by 1. And of course, x is your run. So if you do this, then it would be run is equal to plus 1, which of course we don't have to write the plus sign because it's just positive 1. Now for our y, which is going to be our rise, if you remember in the graph, rise goes up and down, it is again, finding how much it increases by each time. So if you'll see here, it increases by 3 each time, continuously going up by 3. So our rise of our run is 3 over 1, which of course can be simplified to 3. So for your equation, y is equal to mx plus b, your m is actually going to be 3. So your new equation is y is equal to 3x plus b. Now we have to solve for b. So to find b on a table, it's a little different than finding b on a graph. You have to find your 0 in your table, in your x coordinate. So that would actually be right here, and even though there's a 0 in your y coordinate there, we're going to ignore that because we're actually looking for the 0 in the x. So here it is. So if you'll see, when it's at 0, it's also at 3 in the y section. So that means that your b is actually going to be 3. So your new equation would be y is equal to 3x plus 3. And you can use that to solve problems using your table. So that's how you find the equation for both a table and a graph. Thank you.